Well, explosive claims this morning that the Queen secretly battled bone cancer in her final months. It's all detailed in a new biography, Elizabeth, an intimate portrait. To discuss this and some Harry news that you will not believe, we're joined by Royal Editor of the Daily Mirror, Russell Myers. Rusty, good morning to you. Nice to see you. Good evening, London time. Now, her death certificate says Her Majesty passed from old age, but is there a little bit more to that story, as we always suspected?
Well, morning, Carlos. Well, a lot's been poured over about this book from Giles Brandwick. He's pretty much a friend of the royals. He knew the Duke of Edinburgh for about 40 years. He's a former journalist, very, very well connected. But yeah, one of the big lines from this book is that Giles said that he had heard, not that he had it, you know, from the royals themselves, but he had heard that the Queen was suffering from bone cancer in her final months. Now, of course, this would be very, very sad. I suppose it doesn't really tell us anything we don't know. We know that the Queen was tremendously stoic right up until the very end. She was continuing her duty. But I think it's a bit unsavoury, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
agree.
there's anything to this, and you know, it's certainly not things that that we would have published.
Look, the book also goes into the Queen's thoughts on Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. What does it reveal about her?
Well, it's quite interesting. I mean, we know they had a bit of a spiky relationship to the end, but that it wasn't always the case. I mean, the Queen did really respect Meghan. She thought that she'd come into a pretty difficult situation. She thought that she'd applied herself pretty well. But what most interestingly, I think one of the lines in this book is how the Queen thought Harry was, you know, in quotes, too much in love. And I think that's, you know, something we all could see at some time, that he's been led down a garden path at certain times.
I mean, it's awful that someone should be so happy in love. I mean, that people should be miserable, right, Rusty?
Well, no, I'm not arguing that case, but I think that sometimes he could have made better decisions for himself and his family, put it that way.
Indeed, I get it. All right, speaking of Prince Harry and perhaps a little unsavoury, an old flame has come out of the woodwork this morning. Yeah, it's Real Housewives of DC star Catherine O'Malley. She's opened up about a fling with Prince Harry back in the day. She was 34. Hazza was 21 back in the day when he was interesting. I mean, what's going on here?
Well, it may surprise you to know that I'm not a big fan of the Real Housewives of DC. I haven't looked this woman up because nobody had ever heard of her, and it seems as though she's trying to get her 5 minutes of fame, and probably wasn't seen very much on the Real Housewives. But apparently, she did have a bit of a fling with Harry. I mean, all the way back in 2006, they shared a kiss. Want to get a kiss or two, and she isn't in the new book. Apparently, this is why she's so aggrieved. So, I mean, it seems a bit nonsensical to me, but make it a bit of publicity for herself.
She's not in Harry's book. That's a shame for her. Anyway, good on you, Rusty. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
But first, this morning, a new biography has detailed explosive claims that the Queen secretly battled bone cancer in her final months.
This is shocking. Let's bring in 9 Honey Royal reporter Natalie Oliveri with the latest. Nat, look,
good morning.
We had heard, and I think it's on the death certificate, that she died from old age. Talk us through these claims, and do you believe this?
Look, we had been hearing rumours about this for a few months before the Queen passed, but nothing was ever official. I mean, the palace would never comment that specifically about these sort of claims, and certainly these claims weren't really published anywhere. It was just rumours. So whether or not they're true, we don't know for sure. But this book by a close friend of the royal family, he's also a broadcaster. He was a close friend of the late Prince Philip. Now, he's written in his book that the Queen had a form of myeloma, which is a bone marrow cancer. Now, this would explain, I guess, a lot of those symptoms that she had been showing of late. So the tiredness, the weight loss, and in particular, those mobility issues that we were hearing so much about, particularly in the last few years of her life. Now, the most common symptom of this cancer is bone pain, especially in the pelvis and the lower back, and it does affect the elderly. Now, there's no known cure, but treatment can reduce the severity of these symptoms. It can also extend the patient's survival by a year or so. This bruise that we're seeing on the Queen's hand in that very final photograph could be the result of an IV drip that she was receiving to get some form of treatment. So it does, I guess, explain a lot of these symptoms, but we don't know for sure. We will most likely never know for sure from the palace because it's something that they just don't really comment
Also, she was
publicly on.
of a certain age as well. I mean, all of those symptoms can just lead to old age.
Right.
Exactly. So as you
well
said,
as the bruising.
The bruising,
So,
it's a
yeah.
very common thing for elderly
You'd want to have a
people.
very strong source, though, to print something
Well-
that's sensitive about the Queen.
Well, that's right. And look, he said that he heard this, that he was not told by a member of the royal family. It's just something that
Okay.
he has heard. But look, I guess you would call him a reliable author.
Sure. All right. Well, the book also goes into the Queen's thoughts on Harry's relationship with Meghan. What does that reveal?
Well, it says that basically she really liked Meghan. She welcomed her from day one. She was very accepting of Meghan's career as an actress, that she wanted Meghan to pursue that career
Big
because
suits
it
head.
was... yeah, she loves suits, apparently. That we don't know for sure. But she wanted Meghan to continue acting if that was something that she wanted to do. She was apparently very happy that Meghan was so passionate about the Commonwealth. But there was one particular warning that she did, I guess, flag, and after Harry and Meghan got married, she did express concern that perhaps Prince Harry was a little bit over in love. That's the quote that I'm hearing, meaning that he was a bit too head over heels. And I guess you can sort of see that by some of the things that Harry has done in the years since. But look, the Queen apparently really liked Meghan's mother, Doria, and also felt quite sad that Meghan's family was so fractured, as it was put in the biography.
All seems to
quite
make sense.
interesting.
Yeah. In other royal news, the Queen Consort Camilla has selected a few companions for a major palace role, and she's scrapped tradition here.
Yeah, so she's gone for the term companions instead of the traditional ladies-in-waiting role. She's selected 6 women from various different backgrounds, but they're all quite friendly with Camilla. They are her friends. One of them is quite interesting because she's the mother of the woman who set Harry and Meghan up. So that is quite interesting there. So Harry and Meghan went on a blind date in mid-2017. They were set up by a woman called Violet von Welsterholtz, and Violet's mother is now one of Camilla's companions. So these companions will basically help the Queen Consort with her official duties, but it will differ from the role of a lady-in-waiting in that it won't be as formal. They won't be by her side as much as we saw the late Queen's ladies-in-waiting.
Okay. Well, William and Kate are about to embark on a tour of the United States too, so we will be chatting about that to you very soon.
All happening from Wednesday.
Okay,
Excellent.
great. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you then.
Matt.
Parts of the country are still being lashed by wild weather. Southeast Queensland is the latest to be slammed by powerful thunderstorms. For more, let's bring in Jonathan Howe from the Bureau of Meteorology. Jonathan, good morning to you. Which areas were worst hit by these thunderstorms?
Good morning to you, Lara. That's right. So we are kind of that time we do see these thunderstorms pop up around large parts of Queensland. And yesterday we did see some very heavy falls around the Sunshine Coast area, more than 70 millimetres, and around Townsville more than 80 millimetres as well. The very strong gusty winds. And we are looking at seeing more thunderstorms today, all the way from northeast New South Wales and through large parts of Queensland. So just reminding Queenslanders to keep an eye on those warnings through the day, and follow all the advice from SES, especially with those strong winds and heavy rainfall.
So you sort of touched on that system then, but we're hearing that the forecast is for more rain this week. Are there any areas of particular concern moving forward?
That's right. So we are going to see increased rainfall across eastern Queensland through this week. So from tomorrow, we'll see showers and storms increasing, mainly north of about Rockhampton. But then from Wednesday and Thursday, those will be the wettest days of the week, pushing down towards the Sunshine Coast with daily rainfall totals of 50 to 100 millimetres, even high rainfall totals as well. Brisbane will also see some rain on Thursday, but the bulk of it will be across central Queensland, where we could see some flash and possibly riverine flooding as well. So just reminding residents across Queensland to keep an eye on those warnings through the week, with some heavy rainfall to come.
OK, Jonathan Howe, thank you for that update.
G'day, it's Ali.
And Karl.
Thanks for watching the Today YouTube channel.
Subscribe now for brand new videos every day and exclusive bonus clips.
Ali, say please.
Please? Why?
Please? I don't know.